ban the use of TikTok on government devices.
They can no longer use TikTok.
I have seen no evidence that the Chinese government has access to that data.
I find that actually preposterous.
You are capable of maintaining the data security, privacy, and security of 150 million Americans where you can't even protect the people in this room? Blatant display of how vulnerable people who use TikTok are.
Your platform should be banned.
TikTok has taken the world by storm, quite literally going from an underdog to going toe-to-toe with the likes of YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. With 1 billion daily active users and 60% of them belonging to Gen Z, it's clear TikTok is playing a completely new game. It sets trends, it's where young people get their news and information, but it's also expedited the downfall of Western society. Now, it's being seen as a threat, with governments around the world banning it from being used on government devices and in some cases banning it outright like in India. So why is TikTok such a threat, and is the West too late? Now the US is finally taking TikTok seriously, and the current president Joe Biden gave the parent company ByteDance an ultimatum: sell the platform and relinquish ownership or face a nationwide ban in the States. In response, the CEO of TikTok put out a statement.
The change in ownership would not impose any new restrictions or data flows or access. Instead, TikTok is pushing their plan to use Oracle, which is an American company, to store user data.
Following this, the CEO of TikTok appeared before the House Committee for questioning about the security of TikTok as a platform for American users.
Mr. Chu, you are here because the American people need the truth, the threat TikTok poses to our national and personal security.
Now, funnily enough, rather than siding with their own elected senators, when young Americans were asked about their thoughts on the ban, they actually sided with keeping TikTok, and some even suggested there would be a revolution or protest if the platform was banned.
Gen Z would sort of, in their way, riot around this. As far as banning like certain social medias, I definitely advocate for that.
To be honest, unless you're an informed member of Gen Z and know the harm an app like TikTok can do, I'd agree with this point of view, especially when the people that represent my country say things like this.
And you spoke in your opening statement about a firewall relative to the data. But the Chinese government has that data.
Or this.
Can you say with 100% certainty that TikTok does not use the phone's camera?
No wonder we now have people glorifying Chu now by making edits of him, making him out to be some cool solo warrior, or as internet culture would call him, a Sigma male.
China's 2017 national intelligence law states very clearly that, quote, any organization or citizen. So, Mr. Chu, if the CCP tells ByteDance to turn over all data that TikTok has collected inside the US, even within Project Texas, do they have to do so, according to the Chinese law?
Congressman, first, I'm Singaporean.
One of the largest issues with banning TikTok is the generational divide, something that the circus known as Congress demonstrated perfectly. When old men and women are given the power to vote on banning a platform hundreds of millions of young people use, there's already tension in the room, but when those men and women have no idea what they're talking about and yet act like government parents, people are divided massively. Now, even though TikTok's CEO has stayed out of the spotlight and worked from the shadows, he spoke extremely clearly and articulated his points well in front of the committee, and people love him for it. But what Gen Z forget is TikTok is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, literally valued at $50 billion. To put it into perspective, to make $1 billion at the US federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, you're looking at about 69,000 years of working. That's about a quarter of the time humans have existed on Earth. Things are a bit better if you earn US medium household income of $52,000 a year, as that'll only set you back 19,000 years. Now imagine that level of wealth and multiply it by 50, and that's TikTok. Now, I'm all for apps like TikTok succeeding if they provide value, yet their partner program sucks for creators, paying out a measly 4 cents per 1,000 views. Their algorithm is designed to keep you hooked for hours, and the content is mind-numbing. With the algorithm building a profile on who you are within minutes, TikTok is definitely not your friend. Now, it's bad enough these companies will exploit you for every last drop of value you can provide, the most valuable thing you have to offer being your time, but it's astronomically worse if governments are using corporations to directly influence and control you as part of something much larger. Now, there are many reasons America is trying to ban TikTok, and many factors at play that are just influencing the move to a place where TikTok is banned on a national scale and not just on government devices. The one many of you will know of thanks to the bumbling buffoons known as congressmen is the use of TikTok as a weapon of hybrid war. Hybrid war involves attacking on different fronts and playing fields, and a tactic seen growing in popularity is weakening the next generation of a country's society. Pushing agendas, promoting addiction, a lack of family values, and many more issues I could name for hours are executed through platforms like TikTok. And for a while, America and other Western nations have suspected that China is behind it all. And there's a strong case to be made for this, considering the Chinese app is literally banned in China and they have a special version just for the Chinese population. Their version promotes a totally different agenda, one of respect and family values, education and patriotism. And it's for this reason that Biden's predecessor Donald Trump tried to ban the social media platform by getting ByteDance, the parent company, to divest, in other words, to sell the company to a US site like Microsoft. ByteDance was in talks with the likes of Microsoft, Oracle, and even Walmart, believe it or not, but as a result of countless lawsuits, nothing materialized and the sale was put off. Something similar occurred with a frighteningly similar app called WeChat, the biggest social media platform in China, and it acts as a hub for everything. Want to book a taxi? Use WeChat. Want to order food? Use WeChat. Want to message friends? You guessed it, you log on to WeChat. Trump tried to ban this app in the States too, but his successor Biden decided to drop Donald's efforts to ban the app. Of course, on the flip side, you have China, who don't allow international companies to take off in their economy. Usually, an American company will try to expand to the Chinese market due to its sheer size of literally over 1 billion people, but they'll find many roadblocks, perhaps limitations to what they can do with data or who they can employ. In fact, for a foreign company to enter China, they are required by law to partner with a domestic Chinese company to deliver their services. But usually, most companies will be pushed out of the market by a Chinese competitor who is backed by the CCP. A brilliant example of this is Uber, who tried to crack the Chinese market and were met with regulations, sanctions, and logistical limitations. They were made to invest in servers on Chinese soil and had many competitors pop up like Didi, who now dominate the market after Uber's exit. Funnily enough, China has banned countless US tech firms from the likes of Google, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, and even Wikipedia. So perhaps this is just a form of retaliation from America to ban China's tech firms from the US market like China did to theirs. Now that sounds like a petty fight from high school where one kid calls the other a name and the other retaliates and does the exact same, yet these two superpowers aren't acting like babies but rather fighting a war on data. It would be naive to think that only China is using the data that tech firms like TikTok collect, because the US government has been doing the same for decades and weaponized platforms like Facebook and Google for their own use. You may remember a clean competitor pop up in the phone market with a sleek design and insane performance that rivaled the likes of Samsung and Apple, and I'm talking about Huawei. Just a few years ago, this company was growing at a rapid rate, expanding globally and tapped the US and European markets, with more and more people adopting it as their choice of phone. And yet now it's a fledgling company, a mere shadow of its former glory. Huawei is a Chinese firm that set out to compete in the global phone market and ended up on a US blacklist called the Entity List. This was essentially an order from the US government restricting American companies from exporting certain technology to Huawei, most notably Google. Because Google owns the Android operating system, and that's what phones other than Apple including Huawei ran on, this barred Google from exporting their newest version of Android OS and left Huawei in a terrible position. They tried to make their own operating system called Harmony OS, but it didn't matter because in 2020 the US moved to cut Huawei off from key chip supplies it needs for its smartphones. This crushed the company's mobile phone business, and this situation is eerily similar to what Trump tried to do with many other huge Chinese tech companies. Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu, and many more were nearly put on a list of Chinese military companies which would have banned them from any investment from American markets. This pattern of hostility is a back and forth wrestle of power between China and America, and Trump was at the forefront of this battlefield. Of course, now it's highly ironic that he's fighting his own battle with the US government over 30 counts of business fraud, but that's a video on its own. It's clear though that China and America have stopped fighting each other's soldiers and instead each other's societies, with China taking the lead considering the impact TikTok now has. But with how big it has become, will banning TikTok actually work? Now, TikTok's response to all of this is to comply with US lawmakers by storing US data on American soil via American companies. Even if Congress or Biden think this isn't enough, there's two key reasons banning TikTok won't happen and would be useless anyway. If you guys keep up with Congress, you'd know that basically every CEO CEO of every social media platform has had to testify, and it's always been over the same thing: data mining and protection. We've had Zuck, the chief executive lizard of Facebook, now Meta. Bill Gates has had to testify concerning Microsoft. Google's CEO and Twitter's founder and CEO are also part of this party. The point is, are any of these companies banned from the US market? Facebook has had countless large scandals regarding data usage and leaks and is still around, so why not TikTok? Of course, there is a distinct difference with all of these companies being American and TikTok being Chinese, but here's where the second reason comes in. TikTok is in a unique position whereby people under the age of 35 aren't concerned with how they collect data because they've stopped caring since all the countless scandals arising from the Meta alien. The algorithm is also a key reason why people aren't prepared to leave TikTok, because it knows what they like and all their friends too. Fortunately or unfortunately for different people, TikTok has become part of young culture and influences what people think, believe, see, and most importantly, watch. Hundreds of large influencers have made millions becoming TikTok famous, like Addison Rae, and YouTubers are now using it to widen their reach and put themselves out there. The biggest reason though is that banning TikTok leaves a large problem unanswered. What about every other platform that's implemented short addictive content? TikTok successfully accelerated the decline of us as a society by allowing us to sit here and scroll for hours watching 60-second garbage. And now platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and even Snapchat have their own versions, which is why I think it's already too late. But you know what it isn't too late for? To smash that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell if you enjoyed, or watch these two videos here. I think you'll like them. See you there.